Hello everyone, welcome to Radically Loved Radio. I wanted to create a place where people can go to get inspired, get motivated, or find some clarity and get tools to create a radically loved life. I will do my best to provide information on a variety of subjects, including yoga, holistic health, life coaching, spirituality, meditation, and overall mindful living. Each episode will bring you some of the world's best spiritual leaders, entrepreneurs, yoga teachers, coaches, along with some of my closest friends, and we will talk about their life experiences and journeys to create something more out of their lives and how they continue to grow to make that happen. Hey guys, Rosie here. I just want to say I am so grateful that you're listening. We are just getting a massive amount of response on this podcast, and I am so grateful that you're a part of this radically loved community, that you're enjoying the content and that you're enjoying all the guests and that you're still here and you're still working on yourself and your journey and your path. And I pray that you've received some tools listening to the guests or listening to any of my ideas or topics on meditation or yoga and how these tools can help you create a life of purpose. To continue to help us give you the best content, you can subscribe to this podcast, and most of the time you can just do it from your phone, from iTunes. Click subscribe and write a review. This really helps us continue this path and this journey, and we love doing it so much. And again, I'm so grateful that you're here. Let us know what you thought. Thanks for listening. One cup of tea is all it's going to take to completely transform your perception of what premium tea should be. For those of you who are tea lovers like me, I'm so excited to announce my partnership with Rishi Tea for this amazing giveaway. Rishi Tea is going to give away an entire Matcha Essentials kit. All you have to do is go on Instagram, tag me, Rishi Tea, and the hashtag Radically Loved Rishi for your chance to win an entire Matcha Essentials tea set, which those of you that know me know that this is like the ultimate gift. So for those of you that are interested, go on Instagram now, snap a picture of what your tea ritual looks like, and get ready to experience the best tea you've ever tried in your life. Rishi Tea is my ultimate favorite. I cannot wait to share this experience with you. Elena Brower is an author, yoga teacher, and speaker. She is influenced by several yoga traditions and is recognized internationally for her expertise in offering practices for approaching our world with realistic reverence. She's the author of Art of Attention, a yoga workbook that has been translated into 6 languages, and the creator of Teach.yoga. This is a virtual home for yoga teachers worldwide. Currently, she's working on her latest book called Practice You, which will be released this fall. Elena is fortunately one of my mentors and dear friends, and I really look up to her and value her opinion. Her and her husband, James Bernard, are 2 people that I really, really love their approach to life and their approach to their own relationship and how they interact with each other. And lately I've been getting a lot of questions regarding relationships and being in a relationship, and for people out there trying to find a deep, meaningful relationship. I just thought it would be a great idea to talk to them about a couple of questions that people have asked, and just to see what their take is on what is happening in the world today. I feel so privileged to be able to have these types of conversations and share them with you, the listeners, and my students. I can't wait to hear what you thought about this episode. Please let us know if you have any other questions, and I can't wait to hear what you thought. So I'm here with Elena Brower and James, her beautiful, significant other, partner, love of her life. He went to go grab tea right now, and he's going to join us.
Yes, he's grabbing his tea at the moment.
So prior to us beginning, Elena and I were talking about a couple of different topics, but one of the things that I wanted to get her and James's take on is talking about dating in the digital age. So there's 15 million people that are single right now, and about 50% of them are looking for serious relationships. And
you know, she's in a serious relationship. I've been in a serious relationship, and we have plenty of students out in the world that are trying to date in the digital age. And I get a lot of questions in my, you know, personal life about how to find a significant other that's serious, and just how to find that meaningful, substantial relationship. And in my opinion, I think that a lot of it begins with our relationship to ourselves and our belief system on what we're looking for and how we value ourselves. And so I just wanted to talk to Elena and James about, you know, what they think, if there's such a thing as perfectionism. Are we looking too hard? Are we being too picky? Are there too many options? So that's what you guys are listening into
too picky
today. Too picky.
I'm going to say right away, too picky. And, you know, every moment of every day, you have an option to either, you know, embrace what's in front of you, or, you know, and really to commit yourself to working with it, or, you know, getting fickle and more picky. And the truth is, you're never going to find the perfect partner. What I have standing next to me, you know, we bicker, we laugh, we go back and forth all the time. But the truth is, we're both committed to this relationship. We've said it, we've shown it, we've manifested it, and now we work on it. And there are things that totally annoy us about each other, but we love each other so much that it doesn't matter. And at the end of the day, if one person isn't feeling it on a particular day, the other person can kind of wordlessly sense it, come through, and show up. Now, that is, for me, perfect, I think. When it comes to, and I have a fair number of single friends, both men and women, and I'm constantly amazed, actually, at the quality of the people that I'm looking at who don't have a partner. And I'm not saying that you have to, and I don't have a judgment, not even a little bit, but I love to love. And so I'm looking at them and thinking, gosh, you know, I wish, you know, that's my dear friend, or that's my, you know, great friend. And I wish that I could be somehow in two places at once and be loving them and, you know, rubbing their feet at night for them and showing them what it feels like to have somebody next to you who really cares about you, you know, on a constant basis.
Yeah.
And that makes me sad. So very often I will go in and help my friends write their profiles on dating sites. And I will, you know, because you can't write your own profile. I would never try it, ever.
Tell me why.
What I love to do is make sure that, because you don't have a vantage point on yourself. You barely, I'm not saying you, Rosie.
No, I know.
But you person, one does not have a vantage point on oneself. One cannot see one's own beauty. It's very challenging. I'm literally in the middle of designing a course that I hope many thousands of people, millions of people will someday take over time, that actually gives us the simplest practices and directives to generate a feeling of loving oneself, like concretely and actually. And I think that that's great work to do. Nobody can. And so that's why it's important to have someone else. If you are on a dating site, which, by the way, I totally recommend, because many of my friends have had great success there, make sure that somebody who really loves you and really gets you writes your profile and chooses your picture.
I recently did that for my friend David. And he called it right out. He said, you know, write my profile. I trust you. I like how you see me. So yeah, I wrote the whole thing. In his profile, he wrote, I don't want to write my own profile. Here's what, you know, some friends of mine think, even though it was all me. And it was really beautiful. I remember I just thought of what he had to offer, and what I valued in him that I thought somebody else would value. And he got an awesome woman. I think the key is...
He did?
Yeah. He
wow.
Got an incredible woman. But one of the reasons that I think I was able to do it is he didn't want a woman for a long time. And I was always like, why don't you have an awesome woman? Like, I can see her standing next to you. Like, why isn't she there yet? And then at some point, he was ready. And as soon as he was ready, he sort of started broadcasting something that other people picked up. And I do think a lot of men, they're just simply not there. You know, that for whatever reason, I have a lot of judgments about the male population as a whole. And I do work trying to help that. Like, I'm involved in men's work, but there are issues on the male side.
You know, Richard Rohr, I think, would be a really good resource for the men who are listening, and for the women who are listening, to direct your men towards something incredibly helpful, useful, and relevant, and also very, very accessible. Richard Rohr, ROHR, was interviewed by Krista Tippett on Being, on her podcast, and it's an epic, life-changing listen. I was just I'm sharing it with everyone that I possibly can, but he talks about how he is a Franciscan friar, but incredible presence, very comforting, just the most delightful to listen to. And he was talking about how he worked in jails for many, many years. He said there is not one man in jail who had a good father.
That's sad.
He said that when a man does not have an elder to validate him, it's very difficult for that man to stop sabotaging himself. And so I feel, like, you know, and this is also women too, I'm sorry to say, you know, if they didn't have a really great woman to validate them and tell them how, you know, worthy and beautiful even they were as kids, they grow up really not having a sense of self that is whole and full and capable. And so Richard Rohr, on the men's side, he goes in and works with these men to help them find the father figure within themselves and be vulnerable enough to locate the sad that has generated, that loss, that lack, that hole has generated.
Yeah.
And then I think, you know, when I thought about it, I've been listening to this podcast now for the third time, you know, alongside friends and sharing thoughts about it. And I think that that's the work that I'm doing with women. I think that I'm out to get women to feel their own capacity to mother themselves and to take care of themselves and love themselves so fully that they don't need another person's love, but when it comes, they will recognize it and they will be able to hold hands with that love and really use it for, you know, enhancing the world as a whole.
It's so true. I'm curious, as though what James was talking about, the sort of juxtaposition of how men and women view this particular topic, you know, that just going back to the whole dating online, I get the split difference between women who are really into it and they're gonna do the work, and maybe even after listening to the suggestion of having somebody else write their profile, maybe they're willing to do it. But then on the other hand, there are others that think that maybe the online dating has turned the vocabulary too sexual, and I'm thinking about that as we're talking about this, you know, like basically turning the conversation into, you know, a different type of process, and maybe particularly for men, it's become something that becomes sexual quite quickly, right? They turn the whole process into a virtual object that can they can get a plethora of requests and sort of just to appease that part of themselves for validation, perhaps, and it's taking the substance out of finding somebody they can truly connect with. What do you guys think about that?
I think too much choice is a problem. It used to be, you know, the girl next door, that was your girl. You dream about her, you fantasize her, you create something. You know, you create a whole world inside an oyster shell. And there's a study, I'm in marketing and advertising, and I forget if it's 8 or 12, but there's a number of salad dressings that if you give people more than, I think it's 12 options, they're just overwhelmed. So they become dissatisfied with too many choices. And in the dating world, I was online for a minute, and I really didn't like it. The things that I didn't like about it were people were untrue in their pictures of themselves, where if you're selling a product, be truthful about the product that you're selling, even if it's yourself. Just be accurate, because it doesn't help to waste people's time.
Yeah.
And I don't say that in a judgmental way. I just say that in an honest way. And yeah, just the number of choices is I think works against people, because how are you really supposed to build up a lot of love happens within yourself. So how are you supposed to build up like a true fantasy about somebody if there's just so much out there? There are things about Elena that, I mean, they're not ideal, but you work with them, and there's a lot there that's awesome, but there are things that, truthfully, if I could change, I would change. But you work through them, It's like it's like your foul mouth, stuff like
Come
that.
on.
I love it. I love it.
It's true though. Like the foul mouth. It's something that It's
What the fuck are you talking about?
To me, it's not sexy. And every time I bring it up, it's sort of it's not an argument, but we do have to have a little bit of a clearing about that, because it does affect me.
I actually haven't been cursing so much lately.
Not so much. You have been better.
Yeah.
But my point is, in everybody, even in the ideal lover, which I believe I have, even there are things that if I were to get hung up, I'd be like, oh God, this, that, she leaves the stuff out on the counter, whatever it is. But there's also beauty in that. There's beauty in working through it.
Yeah.
There's beauty in saying, this is my woman. This is the only one for me. I don't have eyes for others. I have exactly what I'm looking for. And I think that takes a certain amount of confidence, a certain amount of composure, and a certain amount of belief in myself, like that I have made the right choice, that woman I saw walking down the sidewalk that I went up to and spoke to, that I knew that was my woman. And I really believe that. And yeah, I think that takes confidence and work on myself that a lot of people maybe aren't willing to do.
Yeah, well, I think both of you are so conscious and such present individuals that I think, even though, yeah, we're all human and we all have our things, with Tori and I have been together for 14 years, like we have those same exact things. There are things that I really love about him. There are things that I could totally change and not miss them at all, but it's, I think part of what both of you are saying is just being able to be present with yourself. And it's really about your own value and communication and having that clear communication. And James, what you're saying about creating a very clear image of who you are, so that as to not waste your own time and anybody else's time is really about knowing who you are and what you're wanting to create, right?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think one other big issue right now that's a behind-the-scenes player is porn. I think I have my opinions about it, and a lot of men might not agree, but I really believe it sort of undermines the sanctity of a woman to look at porn. And if you spend time watching sort of, let's say, men and women in that state, it really just sends some very mixed messages about what it is to be a lover and where you put your energy. And if a man is spending his time, or let's just say wasting his energy, whether or not he's ejaculating or if he's just sort of looking, spending his life force in that direction. That's energy that really can, and I believe should, go directly to his lover. And it's like a river that gets diverted. So I think a lot of men are walking around with a very depleted life force, and the energy that should be coming right into the love and appreciation of their woman, sort of being is sort of everything being deflated in the direction of a computer screen
and diluted.
Yeah, that's and
Yeah.
I think that that just coincides with this idea of having so many options. It's the same exact thing, don't you think? It's like you're wasting energy waiting to swipe on the best possible option, right? Elena, it goes back to what you were talking about, like being picky, right? I mean, it's true. It's the same thing, I think. I think it's totally the same thing.
I firmly believe, and I've seen it happen many, many times, that if we, men or women, straight or gay, if you write down exactly who your person is, if you put your energy in that direction, you will be able to recognize that person when they cross your path. And James was that person. And, 2 weeks, I had met James at some point 6 months prior to breaking up with my previous boyfriend, who is now a great friend. And we had a great lunch. We had a great time. He wrote to me after the lunch and he said, please don't contact me unless you're single, which I thought was so sexy and fantastic. But I didn't, and I expected it because I had no intention of leaving my man at the time.
Right.
What I actually said was, you're an ocean of energy. I don't want to drown. Only contact me if you're single.
Mm.
Yeah, I was very clear. I really understood. Yeah, sometimes you get hit with lightning. It's like, wow, I could do some amazing things with that person in my life. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's okay. It was very poetic what you said. So when I did finally, when my boyfriend and I broke up a few months later, it was a couple weeks before I thought to contact James, when I recorded into a voice memo a thank you note to my future man. And it started, Dear my man, thank you for being so present. Thank you for not needing drugs to feel whole. Thank you for loving my boy. Thank you for loving my body and my face and my parents and my ex-husband and his new wife. And thank you for taking such good care of me. And it was a long 2-minute, absolutely beautiful. By the end of it, I was crying. And
so beautiful.
And 2 weeks later, I realized that I needed to contact James because I was single again, and I should get in touch with him. We'd had such a nice lunch. And I firmly believe that if you it's sort of like not having a TV and committing to your spiritual practice or your yoga practice. If you don't have a TV around, you're much more likely to do the things that actually matter to you. You're reading your books, you're studying, you're listening to your children, you're playing games, you're playing music, you're dancing, you're practicing, whatever it is that you practice. And in so many ways, when there are distractions around, you can't even be expected to do that. And I'm not judging online dating. As I said earlier, I've actually had a lot of friends who've done super well and met the most beautiful people. But there's something in me that says to say that if you focus on exactly who you are meant, the person with whom you are meant to be, you focus on that so intently, and you go places where that person would be, and you set yourself up to be in situations where you might meet that person, a friend of your friends or so forth. Narrow the pool, interestingly, and you are most likely to find that person when you're focused on the qualities and clearly.
And I do believe that you, let's say, manifesting, I almost feel like I was invented, like that you manifested me. Everything, all the energy that you put into writing that, it's almost like a job brief. I feel like I heard it, like you put it out into the ether, almost like the way that there's a cartoon character, like when they smell something and they sort of drift off the ground. I almost feel like I heard that and was drawn into it. And then when you realized, let's say, that I was the one, and you played me that message, I mean, first of all, I just broke down. It was so beautiful, so vulnerable. And you had so much faith in the process. I mean, just sitting on the back of a toilet in the dark and, in the dark, writing to your future man,
talking to my future
talking
man.
to him, and there I am in such a short amount of time later. I mean, hearing it really was like a job description. When I heard that, I knew what your priorities were, and I knew what I had to do to really make you happy. Like I understood that your child's really important to you, that your parents are really important to you, that me being sensitive to your vulnerabilities as to how you look is really important to you. If you know, whatever it is. So I really believe in that. I think we can manifest anything if we design it properly. So decide what you want, and it's there. It's really just a question of, picking the right door.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe that all the possibilities are right there in front of us. If we know what we want, we can find it.
Recognize it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all intuitive.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with everything that you guys are saying, and I think there's definitely something to be said when you're very intentional and methodical about what you're wanting to bring in. And I love that you said that, Elena, that you recorded this voice note, or you write a list. I mean, I work with so many people too that I'm like, write a list. What does this person look like? What do they sound like? Exactly what are the qualities that they're going to bring in, that they're going to have? One of the things that I feel is kind of important to note too is that it takes time. Sometimes it happens quickly, but sometimes it takes time. And I think that we're in such a digital age now, or such an age where everything's so, a quick base, everything's instant gratification. How do you guys think that this quick pace compares to that of forming a romantic relationship and or intimacy?
I think it matters that you purposely slow things down. I know that James and I actually, if you're listening and you're feeling that sort of pressure, James and I decided in the first week, we were like, all right, we're not going to have sex for 6 weeks. We're just going to see. And that was based on a piece of advice that I had received years prior that I hadn't heeded from Lauren Zander. I hadn't listened to it the first time she said it to me. But she gave it to me, and it sort of stuck with me. And then when James came into my life, and then he actually was the one who brought it up first, right?
Yeah.
You were the one who said,
let's just get to know each other. Like, let's take some time. We have a lifetime to have sex together. Like, let's get to know it. Let's enjoy this moment. And
we
also,
did.
There's a lot of, I respect my woman. I want my woman to respect herself. Like, just to give your it releases some of the power and the excitement involved in a courtship, even though we moved into
We did.
We literally did.
We did. And then we didn't sleep together for 6 weeks. It was the cutest thing ever. We would lay next to each other and hold hands in bed. And we'd be like, God, we can't wait.
And then there's that whole thing like, oh my God, is it going to suck?
What if it sucks?
I know. Then you guys live together, and it's like, oh great, there you go.
Even if it sucks, if you really love the person and if you respect, you work through that too. It's sort of
figure it out.
Well, I think that's totally a question too of this like idea of self-sabotage, because I've also worked with people and met people that everything is perfect. This is the perfect mate. They're loving, they're kind, they're caring, they care. And it's like the one thing that they're going to focus on. Oh, this isn't the right person because the sex sucks. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So I think that
sex is hard.
No, go ahead.
It takes a lot of confidence. Sex is it's a tricky area.
It's confidence and communication, though. Yeah. You have to be able to really talk about it.
In what way?
I think people who say the sex sucks, they feel like they might be somehow responsible for it. There's like a feedback loop in sex, and each person is half of it, but each person is really all of it also. So you have to go in with a lot of confidence, and if your house is in order, meaning if you've done the work on yourself, chances are you're going to have good sex kind of no matter who you're with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so
That's
just to give some people, those people listening that are asking about dating in the digital age and forming really meaningful, deep relationships with people out there. In short, what is your guys' advice to these people? What do they need to do first?
I have one piece that I think is good, which is have faith in the process. Don't assume that every guy out there, don't judge people. It's a judgmental process. Like you're constantly saying this one's better than that one, this one could work. You're summing people up based upon a resume. Remember that every single person out there, and this is more for men than women, is a human being with potential. And don't just say, oh, he looks arrogant, or oh, you just don't know. So you have to believe that there's a huge number of people online, and your man is there. Like, just have faith in it.
Or your woman is there.
Or your woman is there, sorry.
Or your man is there.
Or your man is there. So they're there. So that would be because it's easy to become jaded.
Yeah.
You know, you go on 4 dates and you think, there's nothing there.
So faith in the process. I think the second is to really limit your exposure to porn. And I really mean this because I do think it dilutes and takes you away from the matter at hand, the person at hand, even from yourself. And focus on your capacity to generate vibration and resonance within yourself. That means be the partner you always wanted. Treat yourself in your space, place your things, care for your space, keep your bathroom trash bin clean, keep your toilet clean. Do the things that you would want a partner to do for you, the little mundane quotidian things. And that will actually generate a kind of an energy around you that you are ready and you are the partner that someone else might be seeking. Then I would say, thirdly, love yourself so much that you don't even need another person.
That's beautiful. I like that.
And then another person, the right person particularly, will be able to smell the way in which you love and respect yourself and want to know more. I think that's really important.
I love
Anything else?
James?
No, I like that. Just the idea that if you have it all together, it's easy for somebody to see themselves sort of walking in that park.
Walking with you. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Me too. I'm sure that we're forgetting something.
Oh,
But
probably something huge.
Oh, I'm
Like
sure.
what?
I mean, we can have
and
literally
don't have sex right away.
Uh-oh.
No, don't have sex right now. Number 4.
Oh, don't have sex right now?
No, don't have sex right away.
Oh, right away.
Like, seriously, if you really like somebody, point blank say, we're not having sex right away. You know? When James was the one who said that to me.
Yeah, but
Guys.
it's hard. Like you can't like up and say that on your first date.
But you did.
No, but that was different. That wasn't an interview. That was me like literally seeing you on the street, not knowing who you are. You know, it wasn't like it's almost when you're online dating, it's almost like an interview.
I see what you're
like
saying.
what's your SAT score? Like where do you stand?
I see. I don't know. I would come out knowing what I know now. If I was having to date again online, I would come out and say it straight away. I would say, I'm not having sex with you for at least 6 to 12 weeks. And we're going to get to know each other as, dear friends, as partners.
I can see that. I can see that intimidating somebody.
Yeah.
But
I don't even care.
You are who you are.
You know what I mean? If they're intimidated, that means they're not the right, it's not a fit. And that's fine too.
Well, it's interesting because I know people that, I think that one has to know that for themselves, which one it is, and really be true to have integrity in that. If it's 6 weeks, if it's 4 months, if it's 2 weeks, whatever it is, I think that it's to each individual and where they hold their own value and their own standards, right?
I think what Elena's saying, though, is don't give yourself away.
Yeah.
Respect yourself. Have a boundary. Enforce your boundary, and don't let other people dictate, where your fence is. Just know it ahead of time. and communicate it.
And when you did that, when you were the one who said that, you were like, you know what, I don't think we should do this for a number of weeks. And all of a sudden it jogged my memory from what Lauren had said. And I was like, oh, I totally get this. Okay. It all of a sudden, I was about to just give it all away, I assure you. And just to be perfectly honest. And I all of a sudden developed this other sense of myself. He really gave me such a gift in saying that, because I understood then what he means when he says, don't give yourself away. And I gained a newfound respect that really changed my life in that moment.
What is the best moment in your relationship so far? I want you guys to both answer that.
Wow, that would be hard. They're all good. You've
been so many places.
Oh my God, so many things. I've changed so much. I'm a totally different person than I was when I first met you.
So am I. We've weathered a lot. We're weathering a lot now, in our family.
Yeah, it's kind of, like when I look up at the stars and I just think, wow, this is perfect. It's beautiful. There's something about our relationship that seems really, really old and very consistent. So it's not like, the wave of the winter, if you're a surfer, like, oh, that wave was so good. It's been a very consistent ride, and the tide seems to be rising in a sense. So it's only getting better. But I don't really have high points with you. And I don't really have low points either. Like there's never been like, oh, I'm out of here. Or, no, it's been pretty, I can't think of a high point. I guess New Zealand is pretty great.
Yeah, I was picturing that there was a beach in New Zealand that we went to, White's Beach, where we Jonah and James and I got totally naked. And we're just prancing around in this enormous cave on black sand with this big roiling sea, and there's no one there.
For miles.
Miles. And it was a hike of like an hour and a half to get down there. And that would be a moment, because it was like the cave people, we were out of time.
It was like going back in time.
Throwing mud at each other, rolling around in the sand, going in and out of this huge, huge cave, freezing cold, water dripping, just out of this world.
Out of this world. Yeah, that was like another planet.
And we had this hug, I remember, the hug.
And also that was, if you think about it, that it took a lot of work on our part to get there.
To get to that moment,
and both physically and emotionally. For sure. And, you're going to travel all that way, take off time from work. Like, there are just a lot of barriers of entry to get to that high point. So, yeah, I know that's more of a physical answer rather than a real...
No,
an emotional.
I think it's just there. It's an experience, which I feel like speaks more louder than words do. I think that's important to. The question's not even necessarily about high points. I think it's just a sort of a benchmark to moments and experiences that you can really cherish. The partnership and the value of the relationship and the value that you guys have for each other. I think it speaks volumes on both of you and the work that you've both done to have such a deep, meaningful, conscious, loving relationship. And I think it's important for us to have those models, because there aren't, and I think that's kind of the whole point, and why I'm actually so grateful to be talking to you guys about this, because I think that people need to see that, and people need to hear that it's not easy, that it's work, but those moments are there, and it's possible, and it's something that we can really aspire for and look forward to.
It's true, except when I curse.
Of course. So one more thing I'll ask you guys. Have you, if it's something that you can answer quite quickly, have you guys ever changed anything for your partner? One thing that you can think of.
I have already, for sure.
Oh man, yeah.
I actually have. I'm really, I swear to you, not cursing nearly as much as I used to. when we first started, and he still points it out, and it still annoys me when he points it out because it like puts more attention on it rather than just leave it alone. It's going to dissolve. But now I think I do it just to piss him off sometimes. Because I don't even need to do it anymore. I don't do it in my teaching anymore. I don't do it when I lecture online anymore. It's pretty much gone. But when I get worked up, for sure, they start flying out of my mouth. Yeah. So it's such an old habit.
Yeah, there are so many things that changed. I mean, everything from the stubbornness of not wanting to go to a doctor to get my blood work done to leaving the closet light on. There are just so many little things that. But whenever I take, let's say, I don't want to call it criticism, I'll call it feedback. When I take feedback, I know that Elena has my best interest at heart, and it's not that it's an idiosyncrasy within her. It's that there's really something that she's looking for me to improve on.
Yeah.
And same for me.
And I respect that. Like this woman is looking to help me. She's not looking to tear me down.
No.
Yeah. And there's trust in that. So being that I know who she is and I know what her goal is and I know that she's not looking to undermine me and it's not an attack. And it allows me to step outside myself and say either, this is an emotion or a behavior that it would be great to change. Yeah, I do it. And there are times when her feedback is, I think, too hard or doesn't fully appreciate the sensitivity that I'm feeling towards something. And I'll usually call her out on that. I'll say, hey, you could have said that better, or this hurt my feelings when you said that. But being open and not allowing feelings to fester, I think, is really important. But yeah, the number of things that I've changed are I'm a different person, actually.
Wow.
And actually, I think there's a lot of things that are better. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are better about both of us too. I have a few things I'm thinking of that I used to do that I don't do anymore that really have enhanced our life together. From
smoking pot.
No more.
I really didn't like that
at all. All the way to keeping stuff off the counter, except for my green powder, which is now on the counter. Sorry about that. But simplifying the house, not sort of letting things get collected in any place. There are little things that actually have seriously enhanced my life that came from James that, I would say for practical purposes, if you're listening to this, be open. Don't take feedback as criticism. Take it as feedback. Be there for your person and make sure that you are aware that person really is trying to help you, unless they're not, in which case, you're not in the right place. But if that person is really after your own best interests and knows what you would like to accomplish in the world and is helping you to release some habit that is keeping you from accomplishing that mission, take it as feedback, say thank you, and put it into work already. Stop resisting. It's such a waste of energy to resist it. And help each other. Help each other along. What do we have? We have 20, 30, 40, 50 years at the most. Help each other. Help each other.
Oh, I love that. So I'll ask you both the final question. And again, I am so grateful for both of you for having this conversation with me, because I think it's definitely an important one that needs to be had. So, okay, so final question. Elena, I think I've asked you this before, but so Radically Loved is this forum that I created. It's a collective, it's information, it's a community that believes that we are all supported by God, source, whatever higher power of your understanding. We are radically loved. The universe is conspiring for you, not against you. So the question for both of you is in two different parts. So the first one is, how do you feel radically loved? And then, what do you radically love?
I'm going to go a little woo-woo here.
Go for it, brother.
I believe that I've lost friends, and I lost my dad, and I've lost a lot of people close to me. And my relationship with my dad wasn't great when he was on Earth. It's a lot better now. I totally believe that. I think that my guides conspire to help me. I talk to them often. I thank them. And I really ask them, you put me on the path, show me the way, help me understand this. And in talking to them, I think I spend a lot of time also talking to myself, but I get a lot of clarity through that. So I do 100% believe that the universe is there. I remember meeting Elena and just seeing how she worked, and I could see like this invisible web to connections, and just when she put her energy in a direction, I saw a real result. It was almost if she'd push the blanket over here and it would move over there. I really believe that you are loved, and that faith in that certainly will help you attract the right person.
And what do you radically
I don't know if I could
love?
add to that.
Oh, what do I radically love?
Yeah.
It's going to sound super cheesy. Sorry about this, but I'm really working on it. I'm learning to love myself, and spend a lot of time down, let's just say codependent, hard on myself, very, very hard on myself. And, yesterday I missed my subway stop, and I could have said, oh, what an idiot. It's like, yeah, give yourself a break. Come on. Put your sister on an airplane this morning. Like, I did so many things. My mind was in a lot of different directions. Going easy on myself, loving myself. And I think in taking care of me, which is my house, it opens me up to help others. That would be and of course I love my girl and kids, and there are many things that I love dearly. But the number one priority right now, even though it sounds selfish, is me. Just the way when you get on the airplane, they say, in loss of cabin pressure, the masks will drop. And I always think, oh God, don't put it on you first. Put it on the kid first. But no, you got to put it on you first. You can't take care of the kid if you're knocked out. And you really have to. You got to think about that. You have to be your own number one, and then everything will flow from that. And it goes back to those insecurities of. There are a lot of things we touched on today in this conversation that I think you got to look at yourself. In the Lauren Zander sense, like it starts with you.
Yep. Yeah. Maybe it's you.
Maybe it's you.
Yeah. Maybe it's you. You got to get Lauren Zander on the show.
She's been on.
She's awesome.
Elena.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she's been on.
How do I not know that?
I had her on a couple of weeks ago when her book
Send
came
me the
out.
link.
I will.
Love her.
Yeah.
She's a good lady.
She's done so much for our family. I can't even tell you. Like, so much of the confidence and the clarity that comes out of this house is a result of her work. 100%. Yeah. She is on top of things with us, for us, as us. I can't even begin to tell you.
I feel so thankful to know her in the flesh too.
Yeah.
She's such a real fountain.
This is going to be a
giving
Handel group collective here. She's recruited all of us. Elena,
you know what the truth is? She never even needed to recruit me, because the minute she started talking to me and offering me the insight into what she was seeing in me, I was done, because nobody had given me that honest of an evaluation or that relevant a bit of help ever.
Wow.
And the truth is, what she's offering to the world in terms of the work that she does is so honest and so raw. And if you take it and you run with it and you do the homework, you will be healed. It's true. It's just what's true. You will be able to see things differently. You will be able to move energy differently. You will be able to help people in your family differently. And it's a very clear path, I feel.
And I think if we're talking about resources, the only other one that hasn't been mentioned, but that I think is very, very important, particularly for men, is The Way of the Superior Man by David Deida.
Yeah.
That's a real roadmap for...
and Dear Lover,
Dear
too,
Lover
is the one for the women. Yeah.
But it's awesome resource.
Yeah.
Short, easy to read.
Totally. Oh, and then for the women, if you really want to go there, this is deep, and I'm going to do a course on this. There's a book called The Path of the Empress by Christine Lee Eli. And stunning book, and very, very helpful for women to learn how to really respect themselves.
I'll put the link on those books that you guys mentioned on the show notes for this show, so people could just click on the links and go straight to them. Elena, what do you radically love?
I radically love this man next to me who showed me how to love myself. I radically love my kid. I radically love my work, and I radically love my team.
Nice.
Oh my God. I love what I'm doing right now. I can't even begin to tell you. And by my team, I don't mean I have a team of like assistants. I'm a one-woman show. I love my doTERRA team. My doTERRA team, to me, is fulfilling me in ways I could have never dreamed of. It surprises me every single day. And it feeds my love in this house. You know, it keeps me so grounded and steady for my family. I'm home. I'm home.
I just want to add that I'm part of that team, so I'm just going to give myself a shameless plug
What?
here.
Yes!
James is like,
Yes!
yeah.
You have to. You have to.
So if
No,
for
it's just
I know. For people listening, where can they go for more information on you or both of you? I don't know if you guys are doing any work together. I believe I did see maybe something that was coming up, but I'll let everyone know.
Well, there's a couple of things. I'll give you James's website. He's a very gifted creative director. And his website is Benard Creative, and the spelling is Benard. So it's not Bernard, it's Benard Creative. It's like a French spelling, benardcreative.com. My website is just my name, elenabrower.com. But we are, in January of 2018, doing a retreat together, the first of its kind. It's called Deep Innocence. And we're going to be teaching together in a beautiful location in Puerto Rico. Oh my goodness. Yoga every morning. Contemplations and meditation every afternoon. A very, very rational schedule. Really good food at a really beautiful hotel. And if you're listening to this, I recommend you line up your parents, your sitter, whoever you got, and make a plan and get your flights and get down there, because you are going to leave that retreat. If you are a couple, and all couples, we're going to take you. If you are a couple, you're going to leave that retreat with a very fresh respect and love for each other.
Or maybe
my goodness.
No.
Maybe what? Oh no.
It's like people come with problems, people, it's work.
Breakup.
It's possible.
You're right.
Let's put it this way.
you're right,
If they are going to show up and there is a breakup that is required, we are going to work it out so that it is the most elegant ever.
I guess my point is it's not only for perfect couples. Like if you're coming there and you have work to do, by all means bring it. It's not it's not all just a walk in the park. It's a place to really do some work, do heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't shy away from that at all. We had a couple that was in rough shape that showed up in Greece.
Yep.
And they walked away in a much better place. But there was a real talk about should they go forward or not.
Yep.
And I think that honest assessment of, you guys can call it quits. I think that was really what helped them understand that they had something beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, thank you guys I love that we had this conversation. I'm so grateful for both of you. James, thank you so much for being a part of this. Elena, I love you so much. I'm so grateful for you both. And this was such an incredible conversation. And I know it's not the first and it's not going to be the last. So thank you both so much.
For sure not. Love you, Rosie.
Thank you for the work you're doing in the world.
Oh,
I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yes.
James. You guys are amazing. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I am so excited to continue to do this. Please share this with your friends. Email us, message us on Instagram at Rosie Acosta or on Twitter at Rosie Acosta. Subscribe on iTunes, write a review. We love doing this, so please help us continue to keep this podcast going. Thanks for listening.